Fish scale and soda for 99 cents. How to repent when you gotta pay rent. Baking soda's only 99 cents. Make it make sense, Lord, make it make sense. Baking soda's only 99 cents. How to repent when you gotta pay rent. Baking soda's only 99 cents. Make it make sense, Lord, make it make sense, yeah. You see, the money is a motive. Repeat my history, crack cocaine is like the motif. It's plain and simple, way back then my mother hustled. It's in my blood, so I feel like it's time to grind, just like the times when niggas lied. Hold up, back then was the bad days. Motherfuckers push mad weight. I was a crack baby. Tell me nothing about my mother and the struggle. See, I love it in the sluggish, trying to smoke when she hustle. Selling everything in the house, goddamn. She ain't give a damn about a spouse, goddamn. So my oldest brother had to man up, had to take care of us in the piece with 4 kids. And one on the way with no clip, no food in the fridge, on some post shit. Got food stamps from the neighbors. Tile work, they ain't ask no favors. Late night, he was shot bodegas. Loaf of bread and some meat, some mayo. Kool-Aid had about 4 flavors. And when time went to cash out, Aki lashed out. Told me he'd take food stamps. $15 for that kid, fuck all that shit. Then the young nigga noticed that it could be the coldest. Take back what they hold us. Whole world on the shoulders. No food in the kitchen but the stove work. $10 in the sack and he points to the back, say, let me get that soda. 99 cents. How to repent when you gotta pay rent. Baking soda's only 99 cents. Make it make sense, Lord, make it make sense. Baking soda's only 99 cents. How to repent when you gotta pay rent. Baking soda's only 99 cents. Make it make sense, Lord, make it make sense, yeah. So let me get this shit straight. So I gotta go take out loans to go to school, to get a job, just to pay for the loans I took out in the first place? I'm looking at this arm and hammer like I should have a hammer in my arm right goddamn now. Shit ain't make no sense. Lord, make it make sense. Goddamn. Baking soda's only 99 cents. Hey, it's hard to repent when you gotta pay rent. Baking soda's only 99 cents. Make it make sense. Oh, make it make sense. Baking soda's only 99 cents. 99. Soda repent. You gotta pay rent. Baking soda's only 99 cents. Make it make sense. Oh, make it make sense.
Shalom, Israel. We are the ISUPK, start out at 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commander General Yohana, right? And since 1969, we've been teaching so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans the truth according to the Bible. All right, we're located here at 5261 Delmar Boulevard, Suite A. That's St. Louis, Missouri, 63108. All right, we got 2 call-in numbers for the line tonight, for the class tonight, and that is 712-832-8330 and 425-436-6260, right? The PIN number for both is 825-1636. Right, now that number is good for all of our classes, which are Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. And it's also good the number to call for our Sabbath class, and that's on Saturday from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. Right. All right. Coming up July 9th. All right. That's next Friday. All right. Commander General Yohana is doing it again. Over 130 tons already delivered. And that was just last year. Right. We stopped counting that part in May. Right. Slock it. No, we stopped counting that part at the Passover. Right? And, the commanding general, that man right there is the only leader that Israel for real needs. You know what I mean? Of course, he has his generals under him, and then his captains, then his officers, then his troopers, right? And of course, that man is wise enough to delegate and allow them to do some things. But as far as leadership, the only man we need to look to is Commander General Yohana, right? And what he decided to do was, instead of running away like pastors did, the same people the so-called black and Hispanic community have been dependent on since slavery. What he decided to do instead of running away is he decided to step it up, right? So instead of the small food drives, we have huge food drives. Now, don't get it twisted, right? Just because we only have, the big food drives twice a month, we still have those food banks, right, where you can come at any time, and if you need something, we can take care of that for you, right? But again, Commander General Yohana is sending probably about another 13,000 pounds of food, 6.5 tons of food at a time, right, to the city of St. Louis. Just to the city of St. Louis. That's not everywhere we doing this. That's not everywhere the Commander General Yohana has people out here doing this, right? Just in the city of St. Louis, another 6.5 tons of food, right? And again, that is July 9th and the 30th. That's the 2 dates for this month coming up. To the 30th. Right. And that'll be right here, 5261 Delmar Boulevard Suite, right outside, not in the suite. Slock, is that one on? Hold on one second. All right, now. Go. Wow. Go. All right, this and every Sunday, we got Sharpen the Sword Radio with Captain DeGaulle Gabar, right? Now, the Christians, they'll try it, if we come on their platform, right? If we come where they can just cut us off in the middle of a sentence and just in the stream, right? But still, when it comes to coming here where they have no control and they just have to defend themselves and they just have to, deal with the scriptures and deal with themselves, they running. They still running from the cap, right? But again, that Sharpen the Sword is every Sunday, right, from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Central Standard Time. The phone number for that is 712-832-8330, and the pin for that is 910-1409. And Slock it. But if you have any questions or anything pertaining to scriptures or whatever like that, or the food drive that's coming up, the phone number to call for that is 314-696-8288. All right, let's see if we got any questions on the line. All right. Any questions in the class? No questions. All right. That's what's up. All right. So, topic of the class, law class, right? Every Wednesday night is law night, right? Topic of the class tonight is Christians just don't understand the law, right? And when I say Christians, right, I mean everybody outside of the ISUPK, right? If you're a fake Israelite, you're a Christian. Right, you're a Muslim, you're a Christian. You're a Buddhist, you're a Christian. You follow Christian theology, you follow Christian teachers, right? Because black Muslims, right, they follow Christian doctrine. Why I say that? Because in Islam is for the Arabs, right? Christianity is what makes it for everybody. Buddhism is for those Asians, right? For the Indians and the Chinese, right? The people who Buddha went out and actually did his little thing with, right? He was an Indian and he had influence in China. Okay, that's what that was for, right? For them people, right? But as soon as Christianity started taking over the world, right? They started influencing and changing those religions, right? Making them accept everyone, accept everybody, right? But that has nothing to do with the Bible. That has nothing to do with the laws of the Most High. That has nothing to do with anything in this book from Genesis to Revelations, right? The laws of the Most High are the same since forever. When Moses wrote them down, that was just the first time they were written down. The laws of the Most High were in the earth before Moses wrote them down, right? That's why he had a chosen line, right? And starting, of course, with something else Christians don't understand, starting with Adam, right? He was chosen among all the other people who was on the earth to carry out the laws of the Most High, to have the laws of the Most High, right? To be able to rule over the earth using the laws of the Most High, right? But what Christians don't understand is that only the chosen people, right? Only those select few were given those laws in the first place, and they are obligated to hold them up. Give me was it 10, 12, or 12 and 10? Give me Deuteronomy 10 and 12, right? Because again, Moses was the first one to write them down. That's it. He wrote down the laws to codify the laws of the Most High into a written text for a nation to be able to govern itself by. And that nation was the nation of Israel, right? So go ahead and read what you got.
Deuteronomy chapter 10, verse 12.
Uh-huh.
And now, Israel.
Who?
Israel.
Who?
Israel.
This ain't talking to everybody. This book ain't for everybody, right? That's Christianity. Christianity doesn't understand these laws. So this is why Christianity tells you not to even deal with the Old Testament, right? Because the Old Testament is blatant and outright. In the New Testament, what we ended up doing was we changed our language to fit the times, just like we always do, right? We always change our language to fit the times. We don't speak now the same way we spoke when I was a child. Well, the way our people speak now is not the way we spoke in the 90s. And not the way we spoke in the double aughts, the 2000s, right? We change the way we speak over time, right? So that's why Christians can deal with that, because in that they can twist it a little bit because of the things that happen to us. But when we look at the law, it says, and now Israel, right? This is a direct message addressing a specific people, right? Keep reading.
What doth the Lord thy God require of thee?
Now it says, what doth the Lord thy God require of thee? It's the Lord. It's first off, in the Hebrew, it's Yahweh, thy power, or Elohim means powers, right? Yahweh, your power, right? He's not the God of everyone else. He's not everyone's God. He's the God of Israel, right? And he has a requirement for his people, right? Keep reading.
Come. But to fear the Lord thy God.
Now, we, as Christians, right, as was what most of us started our life off as, right, is what most of our people still are, right? As Christians, we don't understand what it means to fear the Most High, right? In the ISUPK, you learn what it means to fear the Most High, right? The Most High is not playing games with you, right? You don't fear the Most High. You don't do what the Most High told you to do, right? Slavery happens, right? The conditions we face in this country, the atrocities we face in this country, is because we did not fear the Most High, right? So that is a requirement. First of all, first and foremost, it is to fear him, to understand he is not playing any games with you, right? The Most High, the Most High never changed. The Most High is this, and Christians love that phrase, right? The Most High is the same today, yesterday, and forevermore, right? The Most High God does not play with you. The first and foremost requirement is that you fear him. In everything that you do, you must fear the Most High, right? Keep reading.
Come on. To walk in all his ways.
Right? See, this is action. To walk in his ways is to follow an action that he has set forth for you. Right? It says, I believe it's in the New Testament where it says, be ye perfect as your Father in heaven is perfect, right? That's saying to walk in all his ways. See, and that's another thing Christians don't understand, and that's the point we're going to get to in this lesson is Christ didn't teach anything different. The New Testament doesn't tell you anything different than the Old Testament tells you. The New Testament is just further explains the Old Testament, right? So when it says to walk in his ways, this is the same as saying, be ye perfect as your Father in heaven is perfect. That's the same thing. Keep reading.
And to love him.
And the way you show the Most High that you love him is you do what he tells you to do. You know your children love you when they follow your directions. When your child is not doing what you tell them to do for their own good, right? It ain't nothing fun for you. It ain't nothing that's going to benefit you. You're telling them what to do for their own good, right? You see the pitfalls that they're going to go into. You see the traps. You see the snares, right? And you've seen it before because you've been there. So when the Most High tells you to do something, you do it. That shows that you love him. That shows that you fear him, right? And that shows that you're walking in his ways because you're doing what he told you to do, right? Keep going.
Come on. And to serve the Lord thy God.
See, and this right here, it tells you that the requirement is that Israel serves the Lord thy God. First off, this is the Lord our God. And second off, this, like it says in Romans, right? The service of the Most High belongs to Israel. Where did Paul get that? Right here. Right? Israel is required to serve the Most High. Nobody else has to serve the Most High. Nobody else can serve the Most High. Right? Joel Osteen cannot be a servant of the Most High God. It don't matter what he changed in his life. He cannot be the servant of the Most High God. Right? Billy Graham. He couldn't have been the servant of the Most High God. Now, people might be like, well, why are you bringing up Billy Graham? Billy Graham is the one who taught preachers like Creflo Dollar, preachers like T.D. Jakes, right? Billy Graham had a bigger influence than most so-called Nakers believe and understand, right? These people went to his seminary, right? What T.D. Jakes is teaching, what Creflo Dollar is teaching, came from what they learned from Billy Graham, right? Billy Graham was huge, you know what I mean, in the mega church, prosperity ministry, Christian teaching, right? Same thing with Kenneth Copeland, right? Kenneth Copeland taught a lot of these people the same thing. He cannot serve the Most High God. He cannot be a prophet of the Most High God, right? So when you look at these black preachers, right? They're not doing anything different than what their forefathers did when we were in slavery, and teaching exactly what that Edomite that was sitting in there telling them to teach told them, right? They weren't going off script, right? T.D. Jakes, he started feeling himself for a little bit. He started going off script, right? T.D. Jakes started talking about he knew he was an Israelite. Then all of a sudden he back to, oh, we Gentiles. Right? Why is that? Because they reined him back in. Like, no, you getting too big for your britches. You think because you got all this fame that you can't be brought down. right? They had to check him and let him know who his master was, right? So now he back to calling himself a Gentile. But you can find interviews of TD Jakes talking about him being a child of Israel, about him being an Israelite, right? And why is that? Because he doesn't fear the Most High. He fears those Edomites who control his money. Right? Our people, this is Martin Luther King's dream right here. Hand in hand with the people that want us dead. The people that want everything in the world that is the worst to happen to us. And they've wanted that since the womb, since before the beginning of their nation, since their forefather Esau was in the womb with our forefather Jacob. Right? Keep reading. Start at and to serve.
And to serve the Lord thy God with all thy heart and with all thy soul.
That means with everything you got. Right? It is, Christ, he, again, see, this is why Christians don't understand the law, right? Because they didn't even understand what Christ was teaching, right? Because this is what Christ was talking about when he said, he that won't leave, paraphrasing, of course, if you won't forsake your mother, your father, your sister, your brother, for me, you're not worthy of me, right? That's what this is saying. With all thy heart and all thy soul, everything you got. If you got to leave something behind, you got to leave it behind for the Most High, right? Keep reading.
God. Verse 13. To keep the commandments of the Lord.
See, we are required. It is not an option. It's not. You can't choose to do this, right? Go ahead.
Like you don't have free will.
There you go. Ain't no free will in this, right? This is a requirement, right? I'm sure plenty.
Disconnected.
The computer went off. I'm sure plenty of y'all went to college, right? And they have what's called prerequisites for classes, right? You cannot take a certain class unless you take this one first. Why? Because it is a requirement for the next class. There's no way you can get to the next class without taking this class first because it is required. It is set in stone that you must do this before you can get to this, right? A requirement of Israel is that you fear the Most High, you walk in his ways, you love him, you serve him, and you keep his commandments. Right? Keep reading.
God. And his statutes, which I command thee this day for thy good.
All right. So this is not just to mess with you, right? This ain't just to this. It's like back to college references, right? This ain't like a fraternity or sorority where they just doing stuff just to get you go, right? Just to mess with you. This is what the Most High requires because it benefits you. Just like I said before, as any father would. I give you rules, I give you standards. Why? Because it'll make you better. It's going to benefit you. I'm not gonna benefit out of you doing what I told you to do. Either you do what I told you to do or you don't. It's gonna get done one way or another, but you're gonna catch a punishment for it. Right? You gonna get the consequence for it. So I'm telling you to do this because it's good for you. Right? But this is something that Christians don't understand, and they sit there baffled and just confounded, right? At the fact that they keep doing what the pastor says, but ain't nothing changing in their life. Right? They still in that same situation, right? They still can't get right. Their finances still ain't together, right? Go ahead.
So like, I was about to say, I was reading a comment a sister made. She was like, a brother posted a picture of what's clean and unclean as far as foods.
Uh-huh.
She was like, I ain't gonna stop eating my bacon. She like, God, he said you can eat of all things. I'm like, so you mean to tell me God said don't eat this, but you found the scripture and you know what I'm saying, took it out of context of what it's actually saying and tried to use that to support why you should eat pork?
See,
Like, it's sick.
here's your basic Christian theory, right? We were sinning, and then Christ came along so we could keep sinning. Christ died for us to be able to sin. That's what Christians believe, right? I can just pray over it in Jesus' name, and I can go ahead and sin all I want to. Right? It's disgusting, right? It is shameful, right? Let me get the book of Isaiah 45 and 16. Right? Because our people are lost, right? We think we know something, but we have no clue. We don't know anything, right? Well, once we get outside of these laws, outside of these statutes, outside of these commandments, we don't know anything. And all we can lean on and depend on is what our oppressor done told us. I ran this by a couple people. We had this Black Wall Street memorial event, right? I ran this by a couple people, and the look on their face was just partial shock and disbelief, and then understanding at the same time. I said, listen, once we got off them slave ships, they beat our names out of us. They beat our culture out of us. They beat who we were out of us. Then they told us we were African, and you still believe that. Why would they beat everything out of you and then tell you who you were? No. What they're telling you is going to be a lie. Because if they wanted you to know that, they wouldn't have told you something different. They wouldn't have made you refute who you were in the first place. Right? Go ahead and read that.
Oh God, the book of Isaiah, chapter 45 and verse 16.
Uh-huh.
They shall be ashamed
Uh-huh.
and also confounded.
Uh-huh.
All of them.
Right?
They shall go to confusion together.
Uh-huh.
That are makers of idols.
See, when we get in these Christian churches, right? When we get in these Muslim mosques, what we end up doing is we join ourselves with these idol worshipers. We join ourselves with these nations, you know what I mean, that have created these gods for us to worship. We the only people in the world that worship a God that don't look like us. That's
Right.
disgusting.
Right.
Every God our people choose to worship looks like another oppressor. Every single one. And this society is set up for us to live like that. Christianity was set up for us to live like that. Why? Because that keeps us a servant. Because we won't do anything
Right.
against what we worship.
Right.
We worship the white man. We worship Edomites. Right? So why would we harm our Edomite? Why? And it is so atrocious even to us. If a so-called black or Hispanic man commits a crime against a so-called white man. Right? But if we hear of a kid got shot in the hood again. What was he doing? Oh, he was sitting in his house, went through the walls. They was aiming at somebody else, and they ain't missed and killed him. That's not a big deal. That just happens, right? Why? Because we look at ourselves as less than. We look at ourselves as the bottom of society. It's not just that our oppressor has put us at the bottom of society. We view ourselves that way. And why is that? Because our Christian church has taken our only hope away from us, right? Actually, let me get that real quick. So I'll get back to that one. But again,
So look,
go ahead.
I was about to say this is why, we so hard on the Christian church because y'all making a mockery of everything Christ stood for. Like y'all
Right.
claim y'all follow Christ, right? But if you follow Christ, you would do what he do. Christ never said not to follow the laws in the Old Testament. If anything, he taught you how to do it, and he made it more strict.
Right.
So when you say, "Oh man, the Old Testament is over with, the Old Covenant done away with," that has nothing to do as far as what was Christ's mission when he was sent here. He was sent to teach you how to follow these laws in the Old Testament.
Right.
That's what he was sent for. So
E-
if you claim
exactly.
to follow Christ and you don't do what he do, you in line to the people saying you do follow Christ. You a man of God.
And in fact, a Christian itself, right, is supposed to mean one who follows Christ, right? Now it means one who follows the doctrine of Christianity, right? Actually, get me Revelations 14:12, right? Because here's the thing, right? A Christian always says that they got faith, right? They believe. They just know that God is gonna bless them. He gonna do this. He gonna do that. They waiting on the rapture because of their faith.
Mm-hmm.
They waiting on this because of their faith. This is because of their faith. They don't even understand what faith is, right? Like that doesn't make sense. Like you don't understand. This is something I tell my children, right? If you don't understand what a word means, don't use it. Now that don't mean that you can't use that word. That just means know what it means before you start saying it.
Right.
Know what it's talking about before you say it, right? If you don't know what a word means, ask. Look it up. Like my grandfather, when I was a kid, right? My grandfather always, I used to always ask my grandfather, he was an English teacher, right? What a word meant, right? My grandfather gave me the same answer every single time. He would give me the first 3 letters of the word and hand me a dictionary. Look it up. Read the definition. Don't take my word for it. These are the first 3 letters. Find it. find it and find out what it means, right? Not just listen to what I say and just believe that, right? Look it up, research, right? And I'm be honest, I thank the Most High for that man every day, because honestly, me myself personally, not I know this ain't everybody's story, but that's how I got here, right? It wasn't. I didn't. I know a lot of brothers, get caught by a street teacher, and while they having a speaking on the streets, you know what I mean. They hear the word and they just come on in, right? I know that's a lot of this is a story for a lot of brothers, right? That wasn't me. Like, I studied every religion, everything, even the little tiny obscure ones, right? I studied and researched every single thing, because that's how I was raised, to study and research. The reason I'm here is because I've studied and I've researched. And not only did I look at, Israelite groups as a whole, right? I looked at Christian organizations. I looked at Muslim organizations, 5%ers, Moors, all this other stuff, right? But when I got down to the brass tacks, right? When I got down to what was real, all of my studies led me to go, you need to go ahead and hop into UPK, right? Because that is where the truth is, right? The more studying that you keep doing, a lot of this stuff starts to get confusing. Why does it get confusing, right? When you start studying outside of this book, right? And when you start studying not everything outside this book, when you start studying too much outside this book, right? Everything starts to jam together, right? And you don't understand until you get in here. The reason it all jams together is because it comes from the same source, right? It all comes from your enemy. Everything in this world, is created by your enemy for your downfall, right? So since it has the same source, that's why it's so many of these religions, so many of these faiths, so many of these ancient customs or whatever, that all have the same stories, right? You go to the Vedas, right? You go to those ancient Egyptian pyramid texts and hieroglyphs. You go to even Christian doctrine, right? They all converge. They all ancient Sumerian texts. They all converge, right? Why? Because it all comes from the same place. It's not the truth. It doesn't come from here, because none of those stories match up with here, except for a lot of the ones in the Quran, because the Quran is plagiarized, right? You can look it up. Every prophecy in the Quran was already written in the Bible before it was written in the Quran, right? That's the only one that comes close, because he straight up plagiarized the book, right? But these people don't understand what they believe. They don't understand what faith is. Yes, they know faith is the substance of things hoped for and evidence of things not seen, right? But that, even if you tell them, okay, cool, explain that, they can't, right? They don't understand it. And we can go to the New Testament and give you a better definition and show you what faith is, how you find and keep and have faith, right? Read.
Oh, God. Book of Revelation, chapter 14, verse 12. Here is the patience of the saints.
The patience of the saints is what the saints have been waiting for. Now, we know from Psalms 50 and 5 that the saints are those who made a covenant with the Most High by blood. Paraphrasing, of course. By the sacrifice of blood. But the only people that did that was the children of Israel. So here's the patience of the children of Israel. Here's what the children of Israel have been waiting on, right? Go ahead.
Here are they that keep the commandments of God.
So if you keep the commandments of God, you have to follow what the quote-unquote Old Testament says. Read.
And the faith of Jesus.
So we see that those two things are connected. You cannot have the faith without following the commandments. Right? Let's hop to one of Christian's favorite writers, right? Let's go to Paul, right? Because we understand and we know that Romans 6:1. We understand that and know that that sin is the transgression of the law, right? He that committeth sin transgresses the law, because sin is the transgression of the law, right? So we see in Revelations that it says to keep the commandments of God. The commandments of God were originally written down and delivered to Moses, right? So when people say the law of Moses simply means the law that was delivered by Moses. It's not his law. He didn't create it. He didn't make it up. It's the law of the Most High given by Moses, right? So when it's talking about the law of God in Revelations, it's talking about that law of Moses. So we see in the last book of the Bible, it's referencing the first 5 books of the Bible. So when you throw those away, when you get rid of those, you got rid of the whole thing. You're not doing nothing anybody else wrote about in this entire book unless you following those, right? Go ahead.
But Salakia, paying tithes is in the Old Testament.
And your pastor ain't gonna let you not pay no tithes
Exactly.
now. Hold on now. You ain't paying tithes ain't in the New Testament. That's the only Old Testament scripture that's the only reason they don't use them Gideon Bibles all the time. The little books, right? Because they got to get back to that one Old Testament scripture they read every time. Is shall a man rob God? Yeah, all y'all Christians is robbing the Most High. All of y'all, everyone. If you not paying your tithes to the ISUPK and let the Commander General Yohana do with that money what he needs to do for this nation, then you robbing the Most High. Period. Just like back when we were in Israel. If your tithes wasn't going to the high priest, then you were robbing the Most High. That's how it works. Right? Go ahead and read that scripture.
Romans chapter 6, verse 1. What shall we say then? Shall we continue in sin?
Shall we continue breaking the laws of God? Shall we continue breaking the laws of Moses? Shall we continue not following the laws of Moses? That's what it means to sin, right? Keep reading.
That grace may abound.
That we may just have grace. That we just may live in grace. Grace is not. Every naker knows what grace is. Because all of y'all done had to deal with Esau and his grace period. You can listen. That's a part of our condition here, right? Where you gotta go to your oppressor and be like, look, can I just get 2 more weeks? I just started this job last week. It take 3 weeks to get me that paycheck. Just let me get 2 more weeks before you shut off my lights, before you cut off my gas in the middle of winter, before you know what I mean? Yeah, like I said, cut off my lights in the middle of summer and give me no AC for my child in here. Give me 2 more weeks, please. And they give it to you. That's that grace period. That's that little time. That's that grace, right? So we should continue in sin so that little grace period keeps going? So we can keep having the grace period? Keep reading?
God forbid.
No. How? Keep reading. Keep reading.
How shall we that are dead to sin
If you are dead to breaking the laws of the Most High God, read.
live any longer therein?
How you gonna keep living like a lawless person? How you gonna keep living that way? See, this is Paul talking about this, right? This is the New Testament. Christ done died and resurrected and went and ascended and all that stuff. Christians say the stipulations for the laws getting thrown out somewhere. Even though we see Paul going back to celebrate Passover. We see Paul following the law. We know Peter followed the law. We know Christ followed the law, but somehow it magically disappeared. Paul is saying we cannot live that way. We cannot continue to sin. And Christians just cannot understand that. They think that, if we just pray over the food, we can eat whatever we want to. That's not true. Yes. There are scriptures that say that, you could eat, paraphrasing, of course, you could eat poison and live. That don't mean you just keep testing the Most High. It also tells you not to tempt God. Right? You eating that pork, you eating that shrimp, crab, lobster. That's exactly what you're doing. You're tempting the Most High. You're saying, I'm not gonna do what you gonna say. I'm not gonna do what you say. So let's see what you do about it. No. I'm gonna blatantly go against everything you told me in your face. Now let's see what you do. You tempting God to destroy you. All right? That's Salakia. All right, and actually with that, I see we are at our time. With that, Shalom, Israel.